How are we doing, guys? Always to be. So Illan Meslier has signed for Leeds United on a permanent deal. After a massively successful loan spell, we have signed him from Lorient for $5 million. It's a massive deal for us. It's a fantastic piece of business. Look, I know the fee was very much pre-arranged with the loan deal, as far as I'm aware. And we've probably got a goalkeeper for who's worth potentially 10 to 15 million in terms of his skill set. You know, he's a top goalkeeper. He's 20 years of age. And he feels like he's 26, 27. The experience he shows, you know, that he looks like he shows as well. You know, during our promotion run, I think he's been absolutely key. You know, his last 10 games, 7 clean sheets. You can't complain with that. You know, this is record-breaking stuff. 7 clean sheets in 10 games is absolutely immense work from Illan Meslier. And yeah, look, I think ever since we saw him against Arsenal, we've all been excited about the prospects of him. He's coming to the team, plays week in, week out. Yes, he's had to be patient over the season, but he's coming to the team. Last 11 games of the season, and he's been absolutely immense for us. He's been absolutely immense. You know, it's not just. I think the thing is with Illan Meslier, I think he's naturally being underrated a little bit. You know, I've seen a lot of talk about he's not ready for the Premier League. And look, you know, the Premier League is obviously a step up in class. It is a step up in class. We all know that, and we've got to think like a Premier League club now because we are a Premier League club. We have been for 7 days. But I look at Meslier and think that's a goalkeeper with a lot of potential. You know, as a goalkeeper with a lot of potential. You know, when he came into the football club, he's been spoken about as a potential France #1. So, you know, we knew we were getting a decent goalkeeper here. We didn't quite realise how good he was going to be. You know, I think in terms of goalkeepers we've had in the past, I can't think of a good one since Rob Green, to be honest. And Meslier is kind of at that kind of level for me. Look, you know, hopefully he's going to have a far more successful career. But in terms of what he's going to brought to the team, like Rob Green did, he's brought calm to the team. He's brought a level-headedness to the team, you know, in every single aspect of play, really. You know, he's commanding on crosses, he's a good shot stopper, distribution's fantastic. He offers everything you want from a goalkeeper. And for me, is he ready to be our Premier League #1? I don't know, guys. Does he deserve a shot at it? Absolutely 100%. 100% for me. You know, I think the whole team deserves a shot at being first choices at the minute. You know, we can talk about quality all we want, we can talk about needing to bolster the squad all we want, but we can't just discard the players that got us to where we are, and Meslier's played a huge part in that. You know, I think the big thing with Meslier is that you know, there's a lot of talk about, oh, he's not had anything to do, but this is the thing, when you're a goalkeeper in a fantastic team and a team that dominates matches, you're not going to have a lot to do, and it's other aspects of your play that come into force. You know, we talk about Dean Henderson, John Pickford, etc., Nick Pope. You know, some of the goalkeepers being spoken about as being, you know, England goalkeepers, etc. They all make tons of saves. They're all fantastic shot stoppers, but they get more chances to showcase their ability because they have more to do. They're playing less dominant sides, and maybe next season, look, we're not going to be as dominant in the Premier League as we are in the Championship, and we're going to need Meslier to make more saves. But from everything I've seen, I think he's capable of that. You know, the top goalkeepers. You know, we're talking Alisson, Ederson, playing in dominant sides like Liverpool and Man City. And please don't think I'm comparing, saying Meslier's at the same level as those two, because I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in terms of what they do in the dominant side, they don't make tons of saves, they don't make outstanding saves, but they're alerts. You know, for 90 minutes, for 89 of the 90 minutes, they have pretty much nothing to do, but for that 1 minute, 2 or 3 shots, they have to cope with them. Crosses coming into the box, they have to cope with them. Distribution, starting attacks, they have to do that. And Meslier is capable of that. He's showing that in this Leeds team. And for Marcelo Bielsa, goalkeeper, concentration is so key because you're not going to have a lot to do. You know, your defence is going to be strong, you're going to dominate games, you're not going to have a lot to do. And that's a big thing in the goalkeeper. It's not just about shot stopping, you know, volume, making 5 or 6 saves a game. You know, concentration is so key, and that's what separates the top goalkeepers from the very good ones. And for me, Meslier looks so promising. You know, at 20 years old, to be doing what he's doing, it's absolutely sensational. You know, Swansea away, Barnsley away, he made 1 absolutely world-class save in that Swansea game, and he made 1 top-class save in that Barnsley game. You might say it's 1 save, but they are season-defining saves that Meslier's made there. And for me, everything I've seen of Meslier says to me he's Premier League #1. But in the Premier League, when he's getting more shots at him, maybe it will be tougher. It will be tougher. You know, he's facing up against people like Mo Salah, Sergio Aguero, Raheem Sterling, as I mentioned on the other video, Sadio Mane, etc., Christian Pulisic, Aubameyang, etc., Lacazette. You know, all these kind of names compared to what we've been facing in the Championship, with no disrespect to the Championship, because there's no reason to be disrespectful for the Championship. You know, we've been there for 13 of the last 16 years. but it's a step up in class. We know that it's a step up in class. We've got to think like a Premier League club. For me, I was bringing another goalkeeper, but as competition, not as a first choice, as competition. You know, I don't want to have one outstanding, you know, clear first choice goalkeeper. I don't think it works. You know, I think a first choice goalkeeper needs competition, needs quality competition, so they're on their toes at all times for me. And to be fair, I look at Meslier and I think, yeah, he's got a lot of the attributes we need as a first choice goalkeeper, and he deserves a shot at the Premier League as much as anyone. For me, and I think he's got so much potential. You know, we talk about all the players that have got potential. I think Meslier is probably at the top of them at the minute in terms of what he's doing in the first team. And yeah, I just think he's been absolutely amazing, guys. I think he's been absolutely amazing. I think he's a great character around the dressing room. He's always smiling. He's always on it. You know, even when he wasn't playing, he was always smiling, always positive. By the looks of things, and yeah, I think he's a really, really good goalkeeper, and I'm just absolutely buzzing, guys. Let us know in the comments, you know, as well. You know, what you think of Meslier. Would you bring in another goalkeeper? Is Meslier ready to be first choice? And it is a difficult one to answer. You know, it's a difficult one to answer with the whole team, because very different attributes are tested in the Premier League than what are tested in the Championship. You know, you're facing. You obviously got the technical side of it to consider, but I think the physical aspect of the Premier League is very underrated. You know, I think. You know, there's a lot more height in teams. I think there's a lot more quality set piece takers, and set pieces are a big part of the Premier League. And Meslier, for me, deals well with them. He commands his area, and that's what we might need, because we haven't got a lot of height in the team, especially if we don't sign many other players that are kind of above 6'2", 6'3". So you need your goalkeepers to be commanded. And you look how many goals we conceded with Kiko Casilla in goal on corners. Remember Birmingham away, I think every single goal we conceded in that game was from a set piece, because he's conceded 4 goals in that game. So yeah, obviously, you know, it's a totally different test, but for me, he deserves, you know, a pre-season just to show that he's ready to be first choice. You know, that, you know, if we face some quality teams in pre-season, hopefully we will really test ourselves, because that's what we've got to do now. We can't just, you know, have no disrespect to these teams, but we can't just have pre-seasons against York and Harrogate, etc., not to be disrespectful to either team, because they play my local team every single season and beat us. But yeah, you know, we've got to test ourselves against quality teams and see how these players cope. But from what I've seen of Illan Meslier, I think he's ready for it. But you know, when you've got a 20-year-old lad, you do need backup to him as well. You know, I thought the same about Bailey Peacock-Farrell. I think Meslier is a far, far better goalkeeper than Bailey Peacock-Farrell, but it's the same kind of principle. Bailey Peacock-Farrell played a lot of games towards the end of the 17-18 season, and that was enough for him to be our 18-19 first choice. In the end, that was probably a slight misjudgment. Well, it was a slight misjudgment, because we replaced Bailey Peacock-Farrell as soon as we could. But for me, Meslier, I just look at him and I just think he's got all the attributes. You know, I think he's not just a shot stopper. He's got the distribution, he's got the strength on set pieces, his command, and he talks to his defence. He's got the respect. At 20 years old, that's absolutely immense. And I think we're looking at a top quality goalkeeper here. And you know what? In the Premier League, you obviously got Hugo Lloris. You know, obviously kind of, I think, into his mid-30s now. Obviously not the force he once was. Steve Mandanda as well, not the force he once was. Areola at PSG, you know, obviously he's getting into his late 20s as well. So you know what, in the Premier League, Illan Meslier, you never know, he might well get his chance in the France team. I'm not saying he's ready to be France's number 1, but he might get in the squad. And a lot of, you know, French journalists spoke about Illan Meslier before he'd even signed for us as being a potential first choice for France in the future, but he might get his chance. You know, we have to think about this in the Premier League. You know, we're talking about Calvin Phillips being in the England squad, Ben White to be signed for us permanently. We should look at. I'm hoping I get to do a video on that. Ben White signing permanently. But we're talking about a lot of our players as being internationals. But Illan Meslier, if he signs for us permanently, becomes our first choice goalkeeper in the top division of English football, he could get his opportunity. I'd be absolutely buzzing for him. And things can change a lot in football, guys. So for me, I'm absolutely buzzing with the news. £5 million for a goalkeeper that's probably worth 10 to 15 million with his skill set and age. Fantastic piece of business from us. Money saved for us as well, so we can spend on you know, on other signings and that lot. Edison Cavani for one. But yeah, we know we've got a good deal there. Obviously, Jack Harrison's come back to us on another season-long loan. So potentially looking at a 10 to 15 million pound player in Meslier, a 15 to 20 million pound player in Jack Harrison, and we've kind of saved that a lot. We've saved a lot of money there early doors on rebuilding the squad to be ready for Premier League football. I think both players have looked at and think they're well suited to Premier League football. They might shine more in Premier League football because we might talk about Meslier not having a lot to do, but we might get even more opportunity if we don't dominate games as much. We face these top quality teams. He might get more opportunities to showcase his abilities. He might be a top shot stopper as well. He might be a really good shot stopper. We don't know. If he gets tested more, he might get a chance to showcase his ability more. So, guys, it's all positive. We're a Premier League club. We're thinking Premier League. We're making Premier League-like signings. Let's get them all over the line. And I'm going to leave it there anyway, guys. Later on today, we are going to be doing a live stream with Benjamin Bloom at 6 o'clock this evening. So, guys, do check that out if you can. I'm sure you will be absolutely buzzing too. It will be obviously uploaded on the channel later on if you can't catch it live. But make sure you check that out, guys. Benjamin Bloom, absolutely top class. Font of all, championship knowledge, championship royalty, and we're going to go through the championship season and our thoughts on it anyway, guys, and we're going to get an absolute expert in Benjamin Bloom. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. I've been Oscar, see you later.